welcome to Unlock Your Life. I'm your host, Jennings Smith. Guys, today I've got some killers on the show. Mike and Bo, they're best friends, they're business partners. They've done a lot in real estate, mostly light industrial. They've acquired hundreds of properties. These guys are also business dudes. They got 43 companies, building pool companies, building bread distribution companies, partnering with people, raising capital, teaching people how to do this. So I wanted to have them on the show to share some of their knowledge. I like to bring fresh new perspectives of people that are in this industry and are doing big things. So Mike and Bo, thanks for being on the show. Welcome.
Right on, man. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So let's get into this. You guys are best friends for the last, 30 years? And how did this sort of evolve? Take me back to the beginning.
Honestly, Mike's a few years older than me. And I remember being in high school and my dad was in the Rotary Club. And my dad was telling me about this young guy that was in the Rotary Club, and he was Mike Merrigan. And at that time, my dad's in his 40s. All his buddies are 40, 50, 60 years old in the Rotary Club. And there's Mike, who's like 19 years old, and he's in the Rotary Club. But he was just looking for mentorship, man. I mean, he knew that he was an entrepreneur from the time he was a young man. He's got stories of selling coasters door to door, whatever it took to try and make a buck. And so I always looked at Mike as like a mentor for me, or wanted to do some of the things that he was doing. I graduated from high school, went away to college, came back. My dad and I were looking to buy a car wash. Next thing you know, Mike buys it out from underneath us. And I knew his younger brother, because his younger brother's more my age. But that's how I got to know Mike, through my dad and Rotary Club. And then we started talking business, just best friends, didn't do a lot of business together, just bounced ideas off one another because we're in a small community. And there wasn't a lot of mentorship or coaching back in the 90s for us. So we bounced our ideas off one another. And then we started doing business together in the mid 2000s, early mid 2000s, and just took off, man. It was like rocket fuel once we started doing business.
So Mike, you notice he's coming out of the gate hot, throwing shade, saying, oh yeah, he's quite a bit older than me.
Yeah. Not that you couldn't tell.
I caught that. You know, I'm not sitting here and I'm not in a bubble. I get it. I don't know where he's going with it. But
he's sensitive.
Yeah, right.
So what was the first deal you guys did together?
Actually, it's actually a pretty good sized portfolio now today. It's called 902 Golf. The only reason it's called 902 Golf is because we couldn't figure out what the name of it was. And so we just took the address off the building. Yeah. But him and his brother had come to me. Mike and his brother in the early 2000s were buying light industrial buildings. And around 2014, 2015, we bought our first building together. And we'd done some small deals around town together, but this was in the Houston area or south of Houston, down in Freeport. It was a light industrial building, probably 15,000 square feet. Did the Burr method on it, man. We borrowed some hard money, threw a little bit of our own cash in it, did a rehab on it, and got it leased up to MRC Global, a big company that works down in the oil refineries. And once we got the lease, took it back to the bank, got it refinanced, got the hard money back to the guys. And then next thing you know, that year, I think we probably did another 8 or 9 buildings. And that was our first year doing business together.
Okay. So now before we went live, you were talking about utilizing businesses to generate cash that's feeding the real estate business. You know, you're not going the typical syndication route. And that's different than a lot of guys that are gurus talking about real estate. They're saying, hey, you know, no money down, et cetera, et cetera. Talk to me about your viewpoint on that.
Like I was saying, we're just very patient when we're dealing with the people that own these buildings, because when we're talking to the owner, we realize that a lot of times people are emotionally involved in that piece of property. And that's where a lot of the other people out there chasing properties, they're reading from a script or whatever, but we try to get to know the people. We try to not to offend them or sound like we're calling from a cold call or whatever. We're trying to build a relationship up with them, knowing that sooner or later, their life will change and that property will belong to someone else. And we just want to be in line to be that person to hopefully make a deal with them. And with that attitude and being casual and building those relationships, we've been very successful buying off-market properties, 30% undervalued that cash flow in 90 days. And then we're long-term hold guys. And if you get good at that, pretty soon you're stacking buildings up like cordwood. And that's what we've done.
Yeah, I think it can get really dangerous when you don't have a stable income, you're trying to jump into real estate, and you really, really need to close deals. And that's your whole model. And now you're building out a team and you've got families to support and you've got to live on acquisition fees and asset management fees. And that's exactly not how I built my portfolio either. And I think that's important, because when people are wanting to get into this, I'm like, look, you're not going to quit your job.
Everybody thinks they're going to, though, right? Everybody thinks that they're going to quit their job because they want to do what you're doing. We couldn't quit our job. And we've got hundreds and hundreds of buildings, but in the middle of doing it, when we had millions in assets, we couldn't quit our job because we were taking that cash flow to take down the next property and the next property. So we used our, whether it's a W-2 job and the money that's coming in from that, or our businesses, we lived off of that. We still live very modestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think you got to tell people the truth about how this industry goes so that they can make good decisions on how they're going to follow in your footsteps. It's when you just tell them, you can get 10K a month in cash flow off of one deal and you're going to retire. It's like, it is true. You can build cash flow, but you need a runway. I mean, it can take 2, 3, 4 years just to even stabilize a property where it's properly cash flowing. Yes. And how are you going to get there?
And people don't want to hear that. They don't. They look at what they look at us from afar and think, oh, that's it's easy and you did it and blah blah. But the thing is, what we coach and what we teach and what we try to live by is whatever business we're in or your W-2 job, even simply asking for a raise. But you have to maximize your profits where you're at, because wherever you're at, if you're getting started, you're spending everything you make. Let's not lie. Every single person spends what they make. So now if you want to do a mind shift, you got to either ask for a raise, improve the profits of your company to get up here, live below your means, and take that spread and invest in cash flowing property. It's a long-term thing, but keep your W-2 job. Go out and buy yourself. We always say, hey, here's where you live. Circle 5 miles around. That's where you need to concentrate on buying your first piece of commercial property. And then you get it to cash flow. You still live below your means, so you're able to put away a little more money. This is cash flowing. You put those monies together, and then you're ready for your second acquisition. And then that one cash flows, and you don't change your lifestyle. You're living below your means, and now that money starts accumulating, and you're still buying, instead of buying stuff, you're buying assets that have positive cash flow in 90 days.
Okay, so what if you live in California or New York City? How do you buy in a 5-mile radius of where you live?
Perfect. Everyone's got challenges, right? You see the town I live in, you would say, why do you live here and drive off? We've made a ton of money here, graduated 4 miles away. So guess what? You have a challenge. So you might have to go to where do you vacation at? Okay, well, you're familiar with that area. It is a challenge in LA. It is a challenge. Go to Fresno. Guess what? There's a shitty part of town with some steel buildings that someone isn't taking care of, that fell out of love with it. You got to just be creative. There's challenges out there. Interest rates, it didn't stop us. Steel prices, it doesn't stop us. It doesn't matter. There's always going to be a headwind. And if you're someone that gets stuck in the mud because of where you live, well, then you probably shouldn't be doing it anyways.
And a lot of it comes from relationships.
Yep.
and not thinking that you're going to get rich overnight. Yeah. And not thinking that you're going to buy that property on the first visit. It's developing relationships. This building that we're in right now, this is a big, huge flex space that we bought about 5 years ago. Great story. The guy lived in Philadelphia. He was in his mid 70s. His buddy that was in his early 80s was managing the property. So I got the phone number to the owner through him, called him up, said, hey, Mike and I were leasing building number C from you. It's $2,000 a month. I want to extend that lease as long as I can because it's 16,000 square feet. It was so undervalued. And then I just told him, I said, hey, Mike and I invest in real estate. If you ever be interested in selling the building, we'd be interested in buying it from you. So just do me a favor when you get to that point, because he told me no right away, which everybody tells you no. 2 weeks later, the guy calls us. Yep, want to sell it. He goes, I got too many irons in the fire bow. Makes complete sense. I want to get rid of it. I want $1,350,000. I said, sold, done deal. We ended up buying the property for $1,350,000. This summer, we got an appraisal on it for $6.4 million. But wow. And we did it with no money down. We ended up using a piece of property that we had paid for, the local community bank, because the appraisal came in so high on it whenever we bought it. They didn't need any money down. They just attached another piece of property that we had. We took the property down. But it just, a lot of people go, nah, that doesn't happen. It does.
Happens all the time.
But you got to talk to 100 different people if you want to get one deal. And a lot of people won't get to the 100th person. We will. We're disciplined about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because everybody complains about, well, how do you find this deal? How do you find something that's 30% under market that can cash flow in 90 days? You're selling me the dream, but that's crazy. How are you finding that? And what does it really take to find a deal like that?
We like the distressed properties. So we're looking for properties that you can visually see need help. There's a reason why someone's not taking care of it. It can be an abandoned fourplex, which we found multiples of those. Storage complexes, we got 50 storage complexes. There was a day back in the day when there was a bunch of empty around here that guys had built them in the 80s, and because they were contractors, and they just didn't manage them right because they got older. So they weren't being managed right. The maintenance you could just see was deferred. And so we contacted those people, and you realize, oh, it's an older guy that befriended half the people. Some aren't paying, some are. So just based on their income, you can give them their asking price based on just what they want for it. We come in, do the paint job, do the fix up. We add automatic gate. We make it all automation. If there's a small apartment, we kick those people out. We just make it so that it's totally automated on the websites. And then we just raise it up to market value. And that's our value add. But the thing is, you've got to be out looking, and you've got, like Bo says, you've got to be talking to, once you drink the Kool-Aid, why would you not be talking to your rich uncle about an old property he might not have? He has. My grandmother, when I was a kid, had 2 duplexes. My dad ended up buying from her eventually. But I remember going over there mowing the lawn. So someone in your family is in the business already. You just need to open your eyes and talk to everybody about what your ambitions are. And then if you're a good person and you're not a person that's got a past that no one's going to trust you, pretty soon you're talking to the right person. And you know what? We do have this building that is out of state. We don't want it anymore, or whatever the deal is. But you got to be communicating. You got to be networking. And then here's the deal, which Bo and I didn't have. There's so many people just like yourself, like Bo and I. You can ask for help. You have the internet. All the answers are there. We didn't have one single answer. We didn't know anything. We knew zero. Go down to the library and pull out an encyclopedia. No. Now you can just get online and ask us. You can ask you. We love helping people. So it's in our view, everyone's cheating compared to when we started. It's easy now. We didn't have anybody to ask. Do it with your blindfold on. So it's easy. It's hard to do because most people aren't disciplined and persistent and want to work every single day of their life. We do. So this is golf for us. We love it.
Right. I say this, it's not who you know, it's who knows you and who knows what you're doing and what you're looking for. And are you talking to people? Or are you telling them? Are you posting on social your little micro wins to make people think, oh, that guy's in real estate. Maybe, oh yeah, my buddy wants to sell his property. Maybe he'd be interested in that. Or I want to invest some capital. Let me talk to him and see what kind of deal he can give me. Like if you're never putting it out there, which is why I do the podcast and the social media and my deal room. It's like I want more people to know what I'm doing so that I can get these crazy deals because they do happen, right? You know enough people, the crazy deals do come to you, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah. From the time I was a kid, man, I remember riding with my dad in the car and just asking him, how much money you make this year, Dad? What did you make last year? What are you going to do with your money? I talk to everybody. Obviously, I'm 51 years old now, so I'm a little bit more savvy with my talking to
Delivery.
people, the delivery and stuff on it, but it comes with practice, man. It comes with practice. I build swimming pools for a living. When Mike and I first started buying buildings, I would go out to all these customers, high-end customers, and I'm building all these badass custom pools. I got a list of my portfolio, and I'm showing some of the old guys that are retired CFOs and CEOs from over in California that are moving to our local area, and they're kind of bored and they're interested in anybody that's got an entrepreneurial spirit. I show it to them. Guess what? They become my hard money lenders, like overnight.
Yes.
I show the proof of what I'm doing. I'm excited about it. We got a couple of guys that I was building pools for. We got them on a plane. We flew them out to Texas, toured around the buildings and stuff. Guess what? Everybody gets pumped up about it. Everybody wants to be involved in one way or another.
In our small town, going back to the 80s and 90s, the only way out of our town was one, you're the smart kid in the front row, and so you go off to college, or you started a rock band. I mean, it was the stupidest mentality, but that's what it took back then. There was all kinds of clubs around the country, and every young kid got it, hey, you're going to get rich and do it that way. Today, it's entrepreneurship. It's like everyone's attracted to entrepreneurship. So I've never met someone that's got something going in their life, whatever they're into, they want to talk to the real estate guy. They want to talk to the guy that owns a bunch of real estate, no matter what they're into. I don't care if it's we've met so many professional and retired baseball players, football players through being on, through social media, and they're just amazed by the real estate. So once you're in real estate, you can talk to anybody at an airport. Everybody wants to know about the real estate guy. And it didn't used to be that way, but it is today.
And the thing is, the wealthy individuals, they they see themselves in you, and they can pick it out, right? Where this guy's built differently. He's doing things like, even if it's not necessarily what you want to do now. Like for me, I was a contractor for 15 years, but it's like I could convince somebody to let me build them their $800,000-$900,000 home. I could build this addition. I was doing it myself. I was running crews. Okay, he's got something going. I can trust him to invest with him. It's like, I think whatever your hand finds to do it as best as you can for where you are today. Like if you can do stuff and get momentum, get wins, that's only going to build, and people are going to see that and want to be a part of that. And it doesn't have to start with a 200-unit apartment complex or a 50,000 square foot industrial building. You can show proof of concept and like that you are a winner, that you do what you say you're going to do. You got a good head on your shoulders in whatever you're doing right now.
So that mentality is what Bo and I,
we say it all the time. A lot of people are like, we want to do the same thing that you're doing. Well, if you did, you'd already be doing it a little bit in some way, shape, or form. Even like you as a contractor, I'd imagine your first year in being a contractor, you probably didn't know that much about it, but you just figured it out, and you gathered people around, you networked. Dude, when I started my pool company, I've never admitted this, I didn't understand how the pool equipment worked. I didn't understand that we sucked the water from the pool, it went through filtration, and then went back into the pool. I owned the pool company. I didn't even realize that. I was a great sales guy. I partnered with a guy that was really good at that. So he was out handling all that end. I'm out selling pools.
And once he figured out the filtration system, now he pees in the pool. It's that simple.
Well, so we looked at the data in our education program as to who was successful in our program and what do they have in common. And we identified if they already had some rental homes or they owned their own business, then they succeeded. When we took W-2 people that did not already have any real estate, like had taken risks and gotten and figured it out, like they weren't successful. So we just set the bar. Like if you don't already have real estate or you're not a business owner, this is not your program. And it's become a much more fun culture to be around because everybody there is winners and doing stuff.
So people come to our office, like I said, we're a small town, and they, a lot of stuff. We're talking about real estate, but we love business just as much. But people will come in, what's a business I should start? What's a good business to get in? What's an easy business? What's the most money business? And the thing is we break it down right away. Okay, what are you doing right now? I work Taco Bell or whatever your life is. If you're not already trading sneakers or selling baseball cards or selling candles at the swap meet or doing something already, then that means you don't have it. I was in business at 6 years old. No one taught me. I was making little widgets and selling stuff door to door with my sister. So I've been in business my whole life, made 25 cents at a time, but it was a business in my mind, just as the way the businesses are today. So if you do have it, it's like a songwriter. You can get Taylor Swift's attention and respect if you're just a young girl writing poems all night long, never saying really whatever, just as long as you're already doing something in that industry. So like you said, I'll talk all day long to someone that owns one duplex. Just got it financed, saved up, and now I got my own duplex. I bought it at retail. Man, we're on the same level. Let's talk, man. All right, is it cash flowing yet? Any problems with tenants? Have you got leases set? What are you doing to stabilize it? What's your value add? We're in the same, you can sit at the table with us. So we believe in starting small, baby step, and then see where it goes. But you got to take action and figure it out later. And that's what's on the back of our shirts. Take action, figure it the F out later.
I hear you. Yeah, I started my own window cleaning business. I told my dad, I'm like, hey, Dad, I want to work at Piggly Wiggly, which was the grocery store. Yeah. He's like, well, why do you want to work at Piggly Wiggly? Because he's got the entrepreneur spirit. And I said, well, I want to make money. He's like, okay, so you don't want to learn the grocery business, you want to make money. And I'm like, yeah. He said, well, if I could show you a way to make more money in less time, would you be interested? And I'm like, Dad, I'm not going into sales. But he had me call up his buddy who owned a window cleaning company, and he told me, all right, you need to buy this, this, and this. This is how you get clients. And I went to my little downtown area, knocked on those storefronts, and sure enough, some of them said, yeah, you can clean my windows, once a week or once a month or whatever. And then I could make $100, $150 an hour in, the 90s as a 14-year-old kid on my bike. I mean, it was pretty cool. And I was like, I'm hooked. This is, I'm going to be a business guy. I'm going to do this.
1985, I take my best buddy. We worked all through school, saving money, buy a little motorhome. We took a loop around the country, 4.5 months. We get to Texas. We're running low on cash. I'm budgeting. It's not going to work. We're only eating out one night a week, Gas went up that year, whatever. So I go, we got to start a business. Let me think of a business. I come up with Peeping Tom's window cleaning service. We go to the hardware store. I get a couple buckets, some squeegees, a stepladder. We're in Florida, knock on the doors till noon, wash some windows, get $40, get some beer, go to the beach. Next day, wash some windows, get some money, get some beer, go to the beach. And I traveled around the country washing windows in a motorhome with my buddy, 1985.
A clear, a kindred soul there. You're a window brother with me. I was Jay Smith window cleaning. We take the pain out of cleaning your windows. And,
there you go. You gotta have something, right?
yeah. So and that led me into starting my own little contracting company, and you know, to where I am now. So it's just that curiosity. You know, my roommate, his father owned a mobile home park in North Charleston. I'm in the Charleston area. And when I went home for summer break, I went and met with his dad. And I'm like, how did you own a mobile home park? And how can I get into this? And et cetera, et cetera. And he taught me how to do owner financing. He's like, go to these trailer parks, talk to the manager. They probably have an abandoned trailer that they don't even want. They'll give it to you or they'll sell it to you cheap. They just want the lot rent. And then you can fix that thing up and sell it owner finance for, you know, triple at 12, 14% interest. And I was like, all right, those numbers work. And that's how I started. I bought a $5,000 double wide, fixed it up, sold it owner finance. That was my first piece of real estate my investment real estate that I bought.
That's awesome.
See, that's perfect, man.
Love
but
it.
for whatever reason, his own son wasn't interested. And I'm like, dude, I mean, you got the golden goose right here. Your own dad, like, he knows how to do. But I was just all about the real estate and how to do that, and wanting to do that.
And one thing you'll learn through your program and what we've learned is it's not for everybody. It might be entertainment for a lot of people, but to actually do it, it's not for everybody. So stay in your lane. If you don't already have something going and you have a problem with working weekends and working late and getting up early and being uncomfortable talking to people, then don't do it. You need, like you right now, you've got great communication skills. People that don't have that, you need to start with that. If you can't do what we're doing right now, good luck.
Or you better partner with somebody that does.
Yeah, because you're not going to get far unless you can communicate. That's the biggest asset there is.
And that, I think, that bedrock was built by trying to sell myself with the windows, sell myself to a custom home client. And because when I got into commercial real estate about 5 years ago and got out of single family rentals and all that, I had a bedrock to stand on where I could get people to buy into my ideas. I could get them to give me $100,000. I could get a seller to believe that I'm going to pay off the seller finance note or whatever it is. And yeah, you have to build that bedrock of confidence and be able to communicate your ideas, because that's all money is just an idea that you got people to buy into that you executed on, and you can create money out of thin air.
Yes.
When you saw with the property, you know, you were talking about, it's like you had an idea of, wow, this guy's way under market rent. He's tired of it. I can, you know, clean these places up. I can sign long-term leases. I can take that to the bank. They're going to appraise it at X, and we can cash out, refinance everybody, and we can own the property 100% equity ourselves. I love that.
Yeah,
it's just an idea that you executed on.
You know, it's funny, even just this morning, every morning we get a text message from our controller of the bank balances and stuff. And we've done some acquisition stuff in the company that actually owns this building. But so we took quite a bit of money out of our account just recently. And even this morning, I just looked up the name of the company. It's called Whiteboard Properties, because we got whiteboards for all of our acquisitions and stuff all over the rooms. And I was even looking, I was like, damn. I mean, the money that is generated just off of this property and the other couple properties that's there. I mean, obviously we look at financials and all of that, and you got to do your reporting in that. But I was even looking today just off the bank account balance. I'm like, what a banging acquisition that we made with this thing. And they're out there, but you just got to make the contacts to close the deals.
And ask for help. You know,
Yes.
if a 16-year-old kid came up to you and, you know, with ambition and clear-headed and, you know, goals, would you give them the time of day to help them the way someone explained the RV parks to you? Yes, you would.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, you would. It feels good to do that. I don't know what that feeling's called or what it is, but it feels good to give back, man. Especially as you get a little bit of success, it just feels better than things you can buy. It just feels good to help someone. So, like on our coaching program, it's not about we're just trying to level people up, man. Make your life better. If this is what you want, it would be really frustrating life for me if I wasn't able to achieve what I was, because I was ambitious. I had more talent. I had more energy than talent. So to get that direction going, you know, I mean, I can tell by the person you are. You want to help someone young or old get better in life, and that's all we're trying to do too, man. Just We'll show you the mistakes we made. Do whatever you want with it. But it's a nice life. If you're patient and disciplined and persistent, you can have financial freedom. Takes a while. It's a lot of work, but it's there and it feels good when you get it.
Well, and I've never seen, I don't know any successful people that don't have that level of intensity and like urgency of I need to do it now. I need to take action. I need here's my problem. You touched on it. Well, I don't have any good deals in my 5 mile radius, so this isn't going to work for me. That's option one. Or, well, my grandmother lives, over here, and that's kind of a maybe more reasonable town. I'm going to figure that out. It's like, where can I take action? How do I overcome, go around, go through? But I'm going to get through this because I have to make this happen.
And have to is a powerful thing, man. If you live your life like you have to. I remember once I was scuba diving when I shouldn't have been, but I was 90 feet under and my regulator messed up. And so pulled out the octopus one, whatever. I breathed in a bunch of water down at 90 feet below water. And I was a kid and we were messing with my parents' equipment. I wasn't even supposed to be out there. So I'm looking up, I've got lungs full of water and I'm swimming. And I remember thinking, I hope I can make it. I hope I can make it. And then I remember thinking, it's not hope. I have to make it. And then I made it to the top, threw up the water, whatever, survived. But it's like, I hope I make it. I'm like, that's a wrong attitude, man. This is life or death. I have to make it. I mean, that sky seemed a mile away. And I just kept swimming, man.
We treat business the same way. On every acquisition, it's the same way. And it's not even the money.
No,
it's the
not.
Chase, man. It's the takedown of the next property. It's making the deal happen. It's the negotiation. It's the owner carry negotiation. It's just making another deal happen.
Yes.
We thrive off of that more than anything.
We're deal junkies. You got to get
Yes, we are, man.
It's never going to be enough, man, right? But it's fun doing it.
But yeah, I mean, because people typically they perform pretty well when their back's against the wall. It's like when it's you have to do it, and sometimes your back is against the wall and you don't even realize it. Maybe 10 years ago, I was listening to the 10X rule, Grant Cardone, and I was like, business wasn't great, and I was kind of in a down spot. And I listened to that book 3 or 4 times while I'd run, listen on Audible, and I recognized Jennings. Like, look at your life. Like, look at your assets. Look at how hard you're scraping and scrambling to make a living. And you've got a kid, you've got more coming probably, and you're behind. You are really behind because stuff is only going to get more expensive and more difficult, and you're going to need resources. It's going to take longer than you think. It's going to cost more than you think. It's going to be way harder than you think, and you got to get started. And that was where like a wake up call of, okay, I've got to start buying assets because my real estate company. Or sorry, my contracting company, nobody's going to buy that from me. It's never going to generate more than $100 grand a year. Like, I've got to do something different, and I got to do it now.
Yep, it's the truth, man. We always say you just got to learn to handle hard better. It's not going to get easier. You just got to learn to handle hard better every day. Because once you get past one obstacle, there's going to be something else that's going to hit you in the face the next day. But you just got to learn to handle through it and plow through it. And you're an entrepreneur. No one's going to listen. So why complain about it? Figure out a solution.
The other thing we coach on our Edge coaching program is our thing is everything we're talking about, the business, the real estate, nothing makes sense unless you're taking care of yourself physically. And everyone says, health is the most important thing, but hardly anybody lives by it when they're at the Popeyes drive-through. You know what I mean? You're an idiot. You're at the McDonald's drive-through. So the thing is, we try to live healthy because guess what? Real estate takes a long time. So you might as well be healthy and be able to do the deals and have the energy to do them. So that's something we always talk about also, man. You got to be living right. You got to drop the vices. It's very rare to be successful. It's hard to do. So you better be in the best shape of your life, or at least be in the best shape you can get into to be able to handle the deals, to be able to handle the pressure, to be able to handle the workload, and have a clear mind. And so we look at that also. It's like, are you taking care of yourself? If you're not taking care of yourself, then why would I want to partner with you? You don't even put value in yourself. So that's part of the same game, is that we don't think you can have one without the other, at least not being successful and happy.
I never realized how important that was until about 4 years ago, because my whole life I've been fairly skinny guy, but then as I started having kids, I'm putting on a few more pounds. I'm drinking a little bit more alcohol as stresses are coming in. And I was like, all right, 2019, I wanted to get off of smokeless tobacco, Skoal, whatever,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've quit it, but I keep coming back to it. Every time I fall back into it, it's because I've had a couple beers. I was like, I'm just going to quit drinking for an entire year.
Wow.
And that changed my life. I didn't realize how much drinking was holding me back. I mean, I wasn't an alcoholic, but just a couple nights a week, it wears on you. And so I stopped. I was able to successfully get off of, smokeless tobacco. And then I started working out. And I got a trainer so I could do it consistently. And then I started, walking and running. And, now I'm 3.5, 4 years into that. And it's like, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, and I'm 41 years old. And it's like, and
it feels amazing, doesn't it?
It does. And people see that, right? When you're in a meeting and you want to close somebody and you want to get somebody to invest with you and you want to talk to a seller, it's like you want to be fit. You want to be in shape, disciplined,
It's on the balance sheet, man. What's the guy look like that lays down the paperwork, right?
Exactly. And it's something you can start right now on,
And it's like, never too late. You can always get better. So it's just like, start today, man. You started in 2019. Thank God, right? What if you still had those habits? You and I wouldn't be talking right now if you had those same exact habits. You'd be off doing something else, recovering from the hangover, getting ready for the weekend, whatever. But we feel exact same. We got trainers.
Everything you're saying is exactly what we got. We were with our trainer this morning. We went to the CrossFit gym this morning. 2 days ago, this dude decided I would pull up to the gym and I'm like, damn, normally he'd be here by now. I walk inside the gym, he's there and I go, maybe I didn't see his car. Next thing you know, he's walking home. He decided to walk to the gym. It's 2.5 miles to the gym.
I go, I never walk there. I go, wonder how far it is. Wonder how long it would take it. I go, all right, I'm just walking today. Just to do something different, man. Just to switch it up. Just to make it a little harder, So you're talking the same exact language and it's not a coincidence. So people that do hear this, it's not a coincidence, man. If you got a hangover, if you're sitting there smoking Marlboros and got your big Dr. Pepper sitting there, you've got issues you need to deal with before you get in bed with us.
Yeah. And for me, I needed the accountability. I would work out for
yes.
But because I still don't love it, but I go because I'm paying this guy and I got to show up.
Dude, I'm the same way. I plunge every day, and people ask me, "What are the benefits of plunging?" I couldn't tell you what the benefits are. But I know that I need to do it every morning whenever I get up. Within 10 minutes, I got to go get in the plunge. And I get in there for 3 minutes, play the same song every morning. So Sunday morning, I get up. I'm like, I want to watch Netflix. I want to check this out. I want to do that out. So next thing you know, it's like 1 o'clock and I haven't plunged. And I say that I plunge every day of my life. Anytime that I'm home, I'm not on vacation. Even if I'm on vacation, I go and try and find one. So I told Mike, I go, dude, I felt like such a piece of shit on Sunday until I didn't get in the plunge until 1. And guess what? My day was the most unproductive. I felt like a turd. I went to the gym 6 times last week, but on Sunday, I didn't do anything for like 5 or 6 hours. And I feel like such a loser. So finally, I told my wife, I'm going to get in the plunge. We're doing something. I go to the plunge. I go to Sam's Club. I'm taking care of all this shit at the end of the day. But if you stay disciplined and you hold yourself accountable.
I don't know, maybe Bed Bath and Beyond. Who knows where this day is going to go, honey? But we're leaving the house.
But it was productive. But if I hold myself accountable and I don't let myself off of that regiment, I'm a good man. I'm on top of my shit. The minute I get away and stray away from my everyday routine, it's easy to get slack and not take care of business.
Guys, can you break down a deal for me? Maybe one that you recently closed, like why you liked it, what you bought it for, what was the value add, why was it 30% under market value, and then where's it at now?
I got one for you right now. We just got an escrow. It's going to close December 1st. A gentleman that's my superintendent that works for me in my construction company, and he manages some properties. Him and his dad used to build properties back in the 90s. And he built a 4-plex and he's managed them for the last 20 years. And he comes to me, he goes, hey, the one guy that I've been managing his 4-plex for the last 20 years, he passed away. His brother inherited it and he wants to get rid of it. And I was like, okay, we'll talk to him. End up talking to him, find out that the other 4-plexes in the area are going for about $675,000. And so I just told him, I said, I don't know that we're really moving in that direction of multifamily right now. We got quite a few multifamily. And but I'll tell you what, throw an offer out to him for $425. And my superintendent said, okay. He goes, that's a little bit low, but let me see what happens. I go, it's just the fact of the 1% rule. He's getting 600, 800, and 1,000. So he's only bringing in $3,000 a month on it. He's way under on his rent. So that's how I justify my price. He asked the guy came back at $475. We squared up at 440, and it's in escrow right now. I'm going to give him a $10,000 acquisition fee, and so we're going to be into the deal for $450,000. Well, whenever it closes, the day that it closes, Mike's son's a realtor, kills it for us, does a great job. We're going to list it the very next day for $675. So if we take $650 for it, we got $450 in it. After fees and everything, there's $200,000 minus fees. We'll probably make $150,000 at the very minimum. We might do a little value add by painting the building and actually doing the landscaping, dressing it up just a little bit. We don't want to evict the people that are in it. So we're going to try and assess what the situation is to keep them in, but give them a bump in their rent so that we can justify a higher price. But I guarantee you within 3 to 6 months, we'll flip that deal and make about 150 to 200 grand on it.
And if you were to go on LoopNet and look up Bullhead City, Arizona, there's probably one other fourplex for sale. A twoplex just got listed yesterday for 500 some thousand. So it doesn't justify it. What happens are people from Southern California are selling and they take their 1031 tax exchange money and come over here and pay a little too much for some of the properties. So we're getting the benefit of those type of people that they need to park money somewhere instead of give it to the government. So we just, that deal right there, again, it's an old guy. So it's a little bit distressed properties. They get to know the people. $600 a month. It's worth $1,100. But this guy would go on for the next 10 years and keep doing it. So the deals are out there. Why he left $200,000 on the table? Who cares why? We're giving him what he wants. Two guys negotiated. There's the deal, and it plays out.
Even with that, I really didn't negotiate it much. I threw it to my superintendent. He took the numbers to the guy, and then he came back and he goes, "All right, so we're all good. We're in escrow." He goes. My superintendent asked me, he goes, "What about that house? He owns that house and he wants to sell that too." And I go, "Okay, what's the deal with the house again?" He goes, "It's probably worth 350 grand. He goes, "He's got a tenant in there paying $800 a month rent, probably a little bit under value." And he goes, I go, "Give me his number. Let me call him up and talk to him." He goes, "What price are you going to go in at?" My superintendent asked me. I go, 210, man. 210. That's the number. Honestly, we're not big on residential. We like commercial stuff, but if we do take down a residential, it's got to be a lot of meat on the bone, and we got to be able to turn it quick. So he goes, "All right, well, yeah, you talk to him." I called the guy up. I said, "Hey, I'm going to throw you an offer. We're got the escrow already started for the fourplex. I know that you have the house. I understand you got a realtor and you're going to be listing it." He goes, "Bo, honestly," he goes, "I don't even want to list that thing. I just want a quick deal." I go, "Well, that's why I'm calling." I go, "I'm not trying to lowball you." I go, "But we are investors and there's got to be meat on the bone." I said, "If you did list it, you could probably list it, low 3s, high 2s, and make some decent money, a little bit more money than I'm going to offer you. But I go, I can make it a quick deal for you and get this thing by December 1st. We'll get you cashed out." I said, "How about if we do 210? He goes, "Done." I go,
Wow.
All right.
And the thing is,
but they happen.
They happen. And Bo's really good at talking to people, but most people are uncomfortable making a 210 offer. Every offer should be uncomfortable. If you make an offer and you don't feel uncomfortable, you're not doing your job.
Yep. And the big thing is justify it.
Yes.
Justify your price.
Yep.
Don't hide the deal. Don't tell him that his place is a piece of shit and that's why I only want to give you this.
No.
Just tell him, hey, if you put a bunch of work or you got a really good realtor, you could probably make some more money. But in my case, the most I'd be willing to pay for this thing is 210. I probably would have came up to 250, but started at 210. He was happy with it. So at the end of the day, I came back in the office to tell everyone. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you stole it from that guy." I go, I told him exactly what I thought he could get for it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want the hassle. He goes, "I'm 83, Bo."
These old guys.
He goes, "You think I want to mess with anything these last years of my life?" He goes, "I just want it out of my hair." He goes, "I don't want to talk to a realtor. I don't want to negotiate any deals."
Those old guys are just tired of dealing with people, man. And those old guys, just think of you at 83. You don't think you're going to have some cash stacked up and then be done talking to people? You are.
I'm halfway there. I'm already halfway ready to be done.
Exactly. But you literally don't even want to deal with the human being. And that's what happens. They just want to make it quick and easy, and money's not the problem. So a lot of young people starting out, money is a problem. So all you can think about is everyone's got money problems. Guess what? Those are your problems. They're not this guy's problems. Money is not an issue. His health might be an issue, but it's not money. It's just get this out of my life because I don't want to deal with it anymore. And so that's how we end up getting deals.
I got to tell you guys a story because this thing I just won yesterday, the refinance. But we found old guy, owned a 34 unit in Ohio. I think he had maybe passed away and had given it to his son, and his son didn't want it. And So we get it under contract for like 1.2 million or 1.3 million. And it's a great deal. Rents are real low, 550. They should be 750, 800. And we get about a week away from closing, and the bank says, well, we need another week to get the paperwork done or whatever. So we tell the guy, hey, we got to extend one more week. And instead of saying, oh, that's fine, he says, no, I want to close. I'll owner finance the mortgage. And if you take my loan, I'll knock $100,000 off the price. We're like, okay. And it was like 5% interest. And he gave us a $700,000 loan. So he wanted a good bit of cash. We did hard money like you guys. We raised hard money, $600,000 from investors. And we owned 100% of the deal. And so then we marched along over the next 20 months, got all the rents up to 750, 800, take it to the bank. It appraises for 2.6 million because the NOI is there. And take a new loan out for 1.62 or 63, pay him off, pay the hard money off, net $300,000. And we're cash flowing, $4,000 or $5,000 a month because the new loan is a pretty good rate. And so I love those kind of stories where why would somebody offer owner finance at 5% and drop $100,000 off the price? I don't know, but he did.
Exactly. I don't know either, but they do it all the time. And people that don't have these stories, I don't want to say they don't believe it or they can't figure it out. And it's hard to articulate how exactly they come together. But if you're always working and always looking at things and opportunities and networking, they just seem to come your way in different ways. This came from a superintendent. Yep. Other ones, a lot of times we love realtors. We love talking to the owner. We love dealing with owner finance, all those things. But at the same time, you better have an expert realtor in the area you're working with. And then once you close on some deals, pretty soon in our area here, before a commercial property goes up for sale, we've gotten emails and texts and phone calls from other realtors that just letting us know because they know we're an easy close. And so deals get handed to us before they even hit the market in this area.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, guys, we're coming on the top of the hour. So if people are resonating with you, they're like, man, I like what Mike and Bo were saying. I like their style. I want to buy businesses. I want to buy light industrial. I want to get involved in more. What's the best, or maybe I want to work with Mike and Bo. I want to invest with them. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
Probably the best way to reach out is going to be to shoot us a text. We got a text line number that Mike and I look at all the time. We've got our acquisition team right there with us on it. But it's 928-605-4335. We'll get back to you right away if you shoot us a text. Or you can DM us on Instagram at Mike and Bo. But we're on every platform, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. But if you DM us,
I'm going to make this easy for the listeners. If they go to mikeandbo.biz, that cell phone number is plastered right there on the landing page. It says text us. So go to mikeandbo.biz. You can text Mike and Bo and get in touch with them and get connected. So
right on, man.
Guys, thank you so much. I really enjoyed hearing your stories. I love the energy. It's nice to hear winners winning out there and making things happen. So thanks for being on the show.
All right, man. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. And don't forget to take some time to unlock your life. Peace.